everybody, welcome back to my 100 OCs project where I'm making a character based on every song from my Spotify Wrapped for 2025. This will be character number 6 or song number 94. Song number 94 is Arrow by Half.alive, which is a song off their debut album Now Not Yet, one of my favorite albums ever. I love this band, I love all of the vision they bring to their music, I love the reality of it and the way that their faith kind of interplays with the lyrics and the poetry. It's just a really good band. It's a really good song. This one kind of stumped me though. So it's got a lot to do with trying to adapt to a changing world around you or your life as it changes, and this feeling of trajectory, like you're headed somewhere, you know where you want to get to, but it's really hard to be on the journey there. So as I was reading the lyrics, I get this idea of someone who's fast and kind of endurance-minded, or someone who can't be in one place for too long. That made me think of a hare. I'm kind of obsessed with rabbits. I really love them. So it was only a matter of time before a character ended up being one. So here are my brainstorm sketches for this idea. However, I'm gonna deviate a bit from that. I've had this idea to do crafts in a physical medium for a little bit. So I have this big tub of air dry clay that I bought last year, and I've made a couple things with it, but not a lot. We'll see if it's actually still workable, because the wet paper towels I had in here are dry. Nope, this works. So here's my beautiful clay. I'm gonna cut off a piece from the bottom, and I'm just going to go about sculpting a hare. I have a few ideas of how I would like to make it, specific things that will make it not just a rabbit, but also an interesting sculptural piece and an interesting looking character. I tend to work really small with clay, and that's not always the best. Like, for example, this is a rabbit I made a little while ago, I think the beginning of last year. You can see it's pretty small. This is a dragon I made out of Sculpey clay. He's still not completely painted yet, and his tongue literally just chipped off as I was rearranging things on my workbench for this video. And eventually when he's painted, he might look a little more like this guy who I also made. So this is a little bit dry, which is fine. I have some water here, and I have a little bit of clay that I'm going to go ahead and put in the water, and that's going to make a clay and water mixture called slip. Slip is really like the easiest way to work with clay, because you can use it as kind of a glue to adhere pieces of clay together. You can use it to kind of rub off all of your fingerprints, and my workbench is gonna get really messy with this one. It's fine, it needed to be cleaned off anyways. But yeah, I'm gonna, oh, you know what? Love my wedding ring. Maybe now is not the time to be wearing it though. That's a little bit wetter than it was. I kind of like the idea of giving it a really big head, but that's mostly just for workability. I think this is probably about a good size for the head. And I would like to make it more of like a sculpted, realistic hare's head. There is something really satisfying about sculpting with clay. I'm not incredible at it by any means. It's not like my medium of choice even, but when I sit down and work something with it, I am always really happy with how it comes out, because you can scrap it if you're not happy with it. So it's pretty easy to make things that you're happy with. Like already I've got a pretty angular sort of a hare's head here. I'm going to leave that for a minute. See if I can get some ears going. And my hands are a mess already, which is good. What about really, really long ears? That could be interesting. I have a little bit of wire that I can use too if I need to like structurally support anything. This wire has plastic around it too, so it's not really ideal for oven baked clay, so this would be like the time and place to use it. I'm gonna shorten the ear a little bit. I think I put saran wrap down the last time I did clay on this workbench, which was really silly. Like, this is a workbench for working on. If it's not getting messy, it won't go to Valhalla when it dies. So the ears are a little uneven. I would like to make them more even. Probably the easiest way is to take some material away from the larger one. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't have my wire cutters out. But if I need to do anything with that, I will do it between takes, probably. So there's a head and some ears. All right, here for the interesting part. One of the lyrics is, "In the space between is the arrow in your heart." I had the idea of giving kind of a hollow chest that you can see through for this rabbit, and then sculpting a little heart and putting it in there suspended on a toothpick. Like there's an arrow going through its heart. So just kind of making like, I guess like a donut shape right now, although not quite. And that'll be the cavity where the heart is that you can see. I may also have some more toothpicks as arrows going kind of into the hare's back. I also thought about compasses as something that has like an arrow or a needle on it that's pointing to where you're going. That's probably a little closer to the spirit of the song, so I may add some compass imagery, like a compass rose on it or something like that. This off the back is where the rest of its body is gonna go. I'm gonna add some more onto the back now. I should be taking the surface that's exposed and scoring it. Probably easier to do with the knife, like this. And then putting some slip on it. And then scoring the other surface. And then putting some slip on it. And that kind of adheres them together, like that. Okay, I am back. I've cut out some little wires for the legs. So this leg, I may try to pierce through it. We'll see how that goes. I'll just pull it off. And because this is air dry clay, it's not gonna go in an oven, so the wire is fine. I wonder if I can just kind of like to add some bulk to this shoulder there. Look at me not doing the thing with the slip again. Very good. All right. Beth Cavendish is not this episode's artist inspiration, although I believe I will shout her out at some point, but her sculpted hairs are really, really cool to me. The artist inspiration for this episode is Tatiana Svitsunova. She's on Instagram, which is where I first encountered her. She makes line-a-cut prints. My favorite is Sweet Dreams. It is a cat resting on a pile of pillows. Everything she makes just has such a great command of shape. I love line-a-cut printing as a medium. It's something I'd like to get into in the future. And the way that she does hers, they're very stunning. So she has very good cat art, but she also has a lot of other really cool pieces on her Instagram. I will put a link there. She does have a print shop on Etsy and a few other links that are associated, so if you like her work, definitely check it out. I know the prints do limited runs, but someday I might be able to get one. On Instagram, she is Tatianasta_prints, and again, I will link her in the description, and that is my artist inspiration for this episode. Oh, she is broken apart. One thing I know I need to consider is how this will actually stand. So maybe it's a rabbit at rest, not rabbit running. We'll see. Let's do that for now. Maybe. Yeah, okay, we'll try that. As you can see, the slip is kind of smoothing out. Like that looked so ragged a moment ago. That looked like a Band-Aid on my finger. And now it looks a lot better. So slip is our best friend. I'm not too worried about all the cracks and crevices on this right now. I'm not going to make it look smooth until it's kind of in place, because that's just going to keep happening until I'm done touching it, basically. So, all right, we'll get the sitting rabbit over there. Make some chunky legs. I feel like the proportions are a little wrong, but let's see. I know earlier I said I wasn't worried about the smoothing it over. That was cope. I hate all the wrinkles and I wish they were not there right now. Okay, I'm gonna make like a ruff of neck fur. And then the head will... Oh, that's really rather charming. I really like the shape that that's taking so far. That does not look as good as it did. That's a lot better. Here's where we're at right now. I don't hate it. I also don't love it as much as I did mere moments ago. I want to make the heart before I forget about it because the arrow in the heart is the most important thing. Like that's the part from the song. And multiple times now I've just kind of let the cavity close in on itself. I'm gonna have to do a Valentine's Day heart. Maybe it's kind of a wonky little heart. That's a cute heart. Okay, heart is done. Now I am going to start trying to smooth and finalize things because I'm going to be sculpting in finer details after I've added on the ears. And so it's just kind of going to be sitting there from now on. Gonna leave a little bit of wire sticking out. Stick it into the head. That looks pretty good. Oh, one thing I could do though is fold the ears over the wire. That ain't bad, I think. They're like really ugly now in terms of shape, but that's easy to fix. One of them is way longer than the other. Easy to fix. This is gonna need some fine tuning, so I may leave you for a bit because I will not have a lot to say while I'm focusing in and the details will be kind of difficult to show on camera. And so I will pick back up when I feel like I have more of the process that would even be worth showing, but a lot of it's just gonna be smoothing. Okay, I'm back for a moment. There was a lot of struggle and trial and error in which I realized that this rabbit is not going to be built in a day. So I've got this packing foam that I'm going to use to prop open the cavity. And then once it's dry, I will sculpt the heart around the toothpick that's in there. It was kind of difficult even to get it to this point because it started falling apart briefly. A couple other things I did off camera was to hollow out the torso, like to make a hole in it, and to hollow out the base so that it will dry faster. The leg wires are getting a bit long. So I fiddled with this for quite some time. I did a lot of re-sculpting, and here you can see me adding some detailing with a toothpick. I did not realize it at this part of the recording, but this is gonna have to be a two-part video. So I'm going to leave it here. I will add one update from after it was mostly dry as well, but the rest of this sculpt will have to happen in a separate video just because it took several days for the whole thing to dry after this, and then there were some cracks that I needed to fix, there were some areas that needed to be bulked out, and I still hadn't even added the heart on the arrow yet. So this is going to be a two-part video, and I hope you enjoy the next part. Just stick around for that, and in the meantime, there will be a different video coming out next week. Thanks. This is just a quick video on my phone. I don't even have a good microphone on right now, but I forgot that I was going to add some arrows in its back, and I also have but I ran this tool around the bottom of the clay so that it wouldn't just go down to a flat surface when it dries. So yeah, I couldn't stop messing with it, but hopefully I'm done messing with it now. Like, these very much needed to be put in before it dried.